What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome back to the channel. It's your man, Jamil Muhammad. Thank you all so much for tuning in once again to another video. Today, we have a very, very special guest, a friend of mine since my undergraduate tenure, Mr. Christopher Sumlin. He is a two-time published author, and he has an extensive and very impressive resume. Let the people know a little bit more about yourself.
I'm Chris Sumlin, and I have the great honor of being best friends with Mr. Krishna Fish, Jamil Muhammad. In my second book, dealing with this thing called college, I wrote an entire chapter about Jamil because I feel like he's just the embodiment of what a true friend should be, what a friend should be and be like. And I'm so honored. And I watch your videos often, a lot. Like I watch your videos a lot, actually. Oh, I loved your Chris Sumlin mug.
Oh yeah, I gotta have it, man. Gotta have it.
Gotta have it on deck. We gotta be out here.
I didn't even tell you I was gonna have it either, but
yeah. But so I've been watching your stuff and I see how you talk about coffee, talk about fitness, wellness, not only just physically, but mentally as well. And so watching your videos and understanding that you were trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. So if you have not subscribed to this channel, go ahead and hit subscribe. All my people that are gonna be watching this, hit that subscribe button because you're gonna get good content. I was like, I want to help. I want to be on here. I want to share. Hopefully we can say something that's good, that will get people inspired. And I'm really happy to be here. This is great.
Most definitely. You definitely have an extensive track record with service and helping people, giving a lot of self-help tips, especially with your two books. Very, very, very impressive reads and got good reviews as well. So before we even get into the questions, I want you all to just go to Chris's Instagram, go to his website, order his two books. He has a third book on the way as well. Please pre-order it. He has some really, really good content, very digestible and very useful. Please check it out.
Thank you. My Instagram is the Chris Sumlin, TheChriSsumlin. And then my website is also www.thechrisSumlin.com. And I appreciate it. And I remember when my second book dropped and like you having a copy, because of course you ordered it super fast. And I remember us like going through the chapter together and I'm like, what did you think about it? Did you like it? Was it solid? Did you enjoy the story? And I was just like, yes, bro. I was just like, man, this is the gold right here. We out here making it happen. So chapter 9, we're not out here lying, ladies and gentlemen. If you love Jamil Muhammad, you will go ahead and read this book because chapter 9 is called Jamil, the True Friend. It's on page 107. Good read.
I still can't even believe that to this day. There's a whole chapter about that whole experience, man. I'm really grateful, to be honest with you, man. Right before the call, I skimmed a few little notes and I have a question based off of your readings as well. So
okay,
yeah,
smooth.
So you produce a lot of content. So you're always putting out information on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. You have a blog as well. So as abundant as your content is, how would you define your niche?
Yes. And I would say that I am someone who just shares my life. So I really don't identify with having even a brand per se. I wrote a blog a couple of months ago that says, I'm not building a brand, I'm just having fun. I believe that our lives are best shared. I think when you hear a heartfelt experience that you know it's the truth, and you can see how people go through trials and tribulations, how they have ups and downs, that it's inspiring and it makes people feel good about what is possible for them. When you look at history back in the 1960s, when we first went to the moon, then other countries wanted to go to the moon because they saw that it was possible. When different people like Beyonce and Michael Jackson, when Michael Jackson saw James Brown, he was like, oh man, I want to perform. When Beyonce saw Michael Jackson, she was like, I want to perform. There's value and power in seeing someone set an example and set a precedent that I like to contribute to and I like to embody. So it's always my intention and aspiration just to share what I know, what I've lived, what I've experienced, with the intention of inspiring and impacting all those that I encounter. And it's been going well for me thus far. I love it. It's not work for me. It's fun. And I just hope to continue to do this kind of work and hopefully resonate with as many people as I can.
Absolutely. So how do people usually respond to you if you're doing a speaking engagement? How do they usually respond?
Yeah, well, I mostly talk to kids. My second book is about my college experience. So most of the speaking gigs that I get from my second book are to middle school and high school students. And it's funny because every time I ask them, like when I go around the room and ask, like, what do you want to be? Many of them say like an author. Like, I think that is just so profound that after they hear my story, it's what they want to become. And a lot of people, when they read my books, they feel like, oh, it sounds like you were talking to me. When I listen to your podcast, it sounded like that was directed towards me. It's very personal. I remember meeting a woman in person who was friends with me on Facebook. She was like, I feel like I know you.
Mm.
So I think that where my hook is just my authenticity and my candor, and trying to be someone that is very, very transparent and open. I really don't have an ego in that sense. And I feel like that is what resonates, because when people respond to my books, my speaking gigs, the podcast is always, man, that sounded like you were talking to me. And that makes me feel really good.
Right. And I did notice one of the principles in chapter 9. One of the principles is honesty, that a true friend should have, and
Mm-hmm.
that definitely plays a huge role in many quality relationships. Being honest with people, not just trying to get something out of them, but you're actually using authenticity to build those relationships, because that's what's gonna last, right?
Absolutely. And I remember watching a commencement address that Oprah Winfrey did at USC's communication school. And one thing that she said, that was like when Trumpism was starting to emerge and everybody was just like, whoa, this is wild. She cautioned the journalists, because a lot of people that were in that USC school were journalists. And she was like, you are nothing if you aren't the truth. And that is just a quote that just really stayed with me, is like, everything is not everyone's business. You want to have some type of self-respect to set boundaries and like say, I won't share that. But there should be a thread of authenticity and truth in everything that you do, because people can feel that. They may not have the language or consciousness for it, where they say, oh, he really has a thread of authenticity in his content. They may not say that, but they'll be like, bro, I felt you when you said that. Like,
Yeah.
man, I really was feeling that. Or the girls will be like, Chris, oh my God, I just felt that. Like, oh my God. And that's kind of where we want to lie, is to have some thread of truth in what it is that we're producing, what we're putting out. And hopefully that energy will, and that intention will resonate with those that consume what we create.
This man is just spitting already, man. We're not even, what, 10 minutes in yet?
Oh gosh.
Oh my Lord.
I hope I say something of value. Like, that might be the only good thing I say, is that right there.
All right.
But
So
yeah.
going on to chapter 2 of
Mhm.
your first published piece of writing, dealing with this thing called life. You
Mhm.
state that one thing I know about dealing with life is that perspective is everything. So my question is, how can people use perspective to escape from sort of like a victim mindset?
Absolutely. Perspective is everything. Two people can literally have the same experience, see the same movie, hear the same song, and have two totally different experiences of what they just encountered. And I think the way that people experience life is reflective to, like, to them. Like, basically, we always have a choice of how we want to experience life. We can go through a car accident and someone say, damn, I just completely totaled my car. And another person say, wow, thank God that I didn't die in that car accident. Same instance, same experience, but two totally different perspectives. And I think a way that we can change our perspective is through our thoughts and through our words. Most recently, I was watching an interview with a thought leader by the name of Ian Van Zandt, who I just love. I watch Ian all the time. And one thing that she was saying, that when we're going through life, it's important that we state the facts, but speak the truth.
Mhm.
State the facts, but speak the truth. The fact is, I'm a single mother, and I'm a single mother. The truth is, where me and God are one, and wherever He is, I am full, or something to that extent. Like, you can say that you are a single parent, but the way that you tell that story, it will shape your perspective, which will serve you in a better way. Let me just make it personal to me, because instead of using the single mother example, let me use it to me. The truth is, I had to move back to Columbus from Los Angeles because of the pandemic. That is the truth. The fact that's the fact. The fact is, I had to move from Los Angeles to Columbus. The truth is, I have a home that I live in now, and I'm so grateful to have a foundation and a base where I can live my life comfortably. Same exact thing. Now, I could look at that situation and say, man, I was living in Los Angeles, I was living in Hollywood, living this high life, and I had to move back to Columbus. Even though I already left Columbus, now I'm back. That will be one way to experience the same truth. Same thing. But if my perspective is, man, I'm back at home now. Now I can spend time with my mom. I can spend time with my dogs. I can spend time with my siblings. I can just spend time with my friends. Same experience, different perspective. So whenever we're going through life, we get to make a choice of how we respond to things, because life is 90% how you respond, 10% what happens to you. When you have an experience, ask yourself, how can I handle this situation or experience the situation in a positive way? What has this experience taught me? How can I grow from this experience that I've had instead of being a victim? Change the narrative, change the story, change your perspective. I thought that was a little bit of a tangent, but yes, that's the message.
That's what's needed, because I feel like the best gems come out when you're answering it like that, man. Just, well, you can go on tangents in here, man. That's what
Oh
this.
gosh, I'm trying to be organized. But yes, that's the point. Is we have to like state the facts but speak the truth, and the truth is always, positive. Like we have to understand that life, we go through things but it's always in our best benefit. There's a Bible verse that says, and we know that all things work together for the good of them that love the Lord. That's Romans 8:28. So that means all things. That means every experience that we have, every heartache, every pain, every setback, every transition, all things work together for the good of them that love the Lord. And I know I love the Lord. And so that's how I always see my life, is like, even when I had to move back from Columbus to California, it was working for my good. When I was going to Morehouse and wasn't sure I was going to make it through every semester, that was working out for my good. When my book release got delayed, I know that that's working for my good. And I think if you can just change your perspective and own it and be positive, you will have a better experience.
So in terms of the perspective, what do you think it takes? Does it take you constantly reminding yourself, or is it something where you have to have like just different experiences? What do you think that may be?
I think it goes back to your foundation. What do you really believe to be the truth? What do you really believe to be the truth of yourself, your life, and your experience? What do you really know for sure? I know for sure that me, Christopher Sumlin, is a child of God, and that everything that I experience is here to push me forward to become the best me that I can be. That every hardship is not an L or a loss, but a lesson. That every setback is not a setback, but a set up. So having that core fundamental belief, that belief system, then my perspective is easier for me to kind of like have a better experience. Some people really often have self-deprecating beliefs. Nothing good ever happens to me. My life is awful. I'm not meant to be great. I'm not meant to do much of anything. I'll never be a millionaire. I'll never be successful. I'll always be fat. I'll never play sports. They have those beliefs. So when you're having an experience, you're often negative. I challenge you to really ask yourself, what are my core beliefs? What do I really believe is true for me in my experience? And how is that either serving me or disserving me in my life?
That's absolutely wonderful, and I definitely agree with that point. Especially it going back to your foundation, and your foundation, of course, is influenced by your environment, and it's so important. And one of the things I really should talk about is your environmental health, rather than just your mental and physical health. But your environmental health, that's what influences you. So when you come home, what are you coming home to? Is
Mhm.
your space, is it set up for your recuperation, or is it still taking a toll on you?
Your recuperation, your restoration, your recovery. We can do all these. Your rebound.
Yeah.
Your home should be a place of peace. And I do a book club for my church on Tuesdays, and we were talking about spiritual practice. And one of the most important things that is essential to having a spiritual practice is having a foundation where spiritual work is conducive for spiritual work.
Mhm.
I love gospel. I love praying. I love listening to sermons. And I couldn't do that if I was living in like some frat house where everybody, was waking up at 11 o'clock drunk and hungover. You know what I mean? Like that
Yeah.
wouldn't be conducive for my spiritual practice. But me having my base and having my home, I'm able to have that spiritual practice and do things that make me feel good. Environment, very, 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 very big point, because I believe that the only thing in life that you really need to be successful is number one, like the mindset, the belief that you actually can do it, the hard work to actually actualize that dream for yourself, and three, the environment. And if you look at any single person who's either succeeded or failed, it's because they were lacking one of those three areas. Either they didn't have the mindset, they didn't have the work ethic, or they didn't have the environment. And then some people don't have all three. You know what I mean? So we kind of always have to self-evaluate and say, like, do I have the mindset? Do I really believe in myself? Am I putting in the work that matches my mindset? Am I putting in the work to believe in my dreams? And do I have an environment that is around me where I'm taking in good stuff that can bring those dreams to life? And proximity doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have it. Just because I can't get in touch with Oprah and call her on the phone doesn't mean I can't watch her videos and still be inspired by her.
Right.
Because some oftentimes people will say, like, oh, like in my neighborhood, I don't see nobody like me. Well, get on the internet, get on social media, get on Facebook, and expose your mind to what else is out there. When I was in high school, no one had ever gone to Morehouse College before. No one. So When I went off to Morehouse, no one really believed in me like that. That's why I wrote the book in the first place about my college experience, because I didn't think I was necessarily going to make it through. So when I was in my last year of high school, I started watching YouTube videos of anybody that was making content about their Morehouse experience. I started reading everything I could on HBCUs, and I changed my environment, because even though physically, geographically, my location wasn't conducive for the Morehouse dream, I was able to draw those things through the internet to me that kept pushing me forward, that eventually led me to Morehouse and led me through Morehouse.
It seems, just based off of this conversation, you've done a really good job of eliminating excuses for, if you want something, how can you make it happen? And based off of one of the first experiences I had with you was, I forget where we were, but you was just like, look, make a decision. So it's like,
Yeah, I
there's no
remember that
room for me to
conversation.
say, oh, I could have done or I should have done. It's no. In this moment, you need to make a decision, and you can eliminate the excuse and eliminate the regret as a result as well.
Absolutely. And I remember us having that conversation in your dorm in Morehouse, because we were talking about laying bricks. So we're talking about that Will Smith idea. Like, you don't go out to build a wall, you go out to lay a brick as neatly and as best as you can. And eventually you do that over time, you'll have a wall. And the preface to that laying the bricks is making a decision that you're going to lay the brick in the first place, making the conscious decision that I'm going to be this person, I'm going to be this man, I'm going to be this woman, I'm going to be this person in the world, having that idea and then working at it every single day, making that, doing that legwork. Because not a lot of people want to do that legwork. A lot of people, once they have the dream, I have every single day, I have someone reach out to me saying, bro, I want to write a book.
Yeah.
I'm like, great. Do you have a great. You need to write probably about 40,000 words. That's probably about 30 to 60 pages, single space on Microsoft Word. You should be reading at least 10 books max before you even start writing your first page. So you're drawing from something. And then you need to find maybe about $2,000 for your publishing. You can do those things, you can get a book. That's what I did. And that's how you can do it. When I start giving them people the intricacies of that process, they usually run scared. They're like, oh, I don't know if I can do all that. When I wrote my first book, which you just showed, I wrote that book in Douglas. Do you remember at Morehouse how we had Douglas? I didn't even have a laptop. So I used to have to go to Douglas to do my rewrites, because I broke my laptop just doing the draft on its own. I remember my laptop broke. I had like this black Dell laptop when I was a junior in college. I don't even know if you remember that. And that thing broke.
Yeah.
And so when they sent me the reviews to do the second draft, I didn't even have a laptop. But like we said, I couldn't make it. She had to make a decision. I'm going to be an author. Whether people like it or not, I'm going to do this thing. So I remember literally going from my dorm. I stayed in Mays junior year, going over to Douglas early in the morning and at night, and just sitting there with my flip-flops, hoodie on. Oh, sorry.
That's part of it.
Sorry about that. Are we going to edit this out?
I can start probably not. I'm going to put this right at the beginning of the video.
Oh my God.
Right at the beginning.
Okay, anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. When I was at Morehouse, I knew that I wanted to write a book. I knew that I had the vision for myself, but my laptop broke. I didn't even have a laptop. So I literally had to go from my dorm to like the computer lab to work on that manuscript for the book. I made the decision and I dispelled my excuses. And that's so important, that when you have a vision for yourself, a goal, something that you really want to do, you have to do it no matter what. And I think that's been a premise that I've tried to lead my life with, and that has served me really well in my experiences.
Right. And so you're talking about writing a lot, and one of the experience that you're talking about is you not making an excuse and executing on writing. But was there a particular experience, or did you just have a natural love for writing always?
I've always had a natural love for reading. I've always liked reading books. And so that's always been my thing since I was a young guy, because my power was never in my body or in my physical capabilities. Like I can't do, you know this, I don't do push-ups. I don't play sports. That's not my thing. But for me, my power as a child was always in my ability to read and to speak.
Yeah.
So that's always just been a natural propensity for me, is just to pick up a book and read. So when I started reading a lot, and then when I had the epiphanous moment where I felt like my spirit was telling me to write a book, that's how that came about. But I've never just been somebody that was just running around here just writing all the time. Oh, I'm going to be an author. It wasn't in my plan, because, but I was sitting down one time at home, and something in my instinct, my spirit, whatever you want to call it, was like, write a book. And then once I had that vision, I was like, okay, well, I'll figure it out. And that's how I started getting into the writing thing. But it wasn't something that I was always interested in as a kid.
Right. That's interesting, man. It took quite a while for me to actually focus and read books through, because I'm the type of person, my interest goes from this place to that place. And when I was young, it was really bad. Like I would pick up one book, put it down, go play with toys, pick up another book. Like it was just like all over the place. And I never read it through until
Mhm.
about maybe my junior year of high school. That was probably the first time I actually read a book through to the end. So it's definitely an experience for me. It's very interesting.
And when you start reading, there's so many enormous benefits to it.
Yeah.
Like the way that you can articulate and the way that you have empathy towards people and understand different ideas, it comes from reading and reading a diverse set of books. Um, and that's what I really encourage people to read. Read what you like and read often, because doing so helps with my mental health, helps with me having empathy and understanding different ideas, the way I'm able to articulate and have big ideas and do conversations like this with no notes and just speak. Is because I've done so much work taking things in. And I will just really encourage and employ anyone to get about reading and do it often, because it's amazing.
So how important is, you consider reading, writing, or just consuming or producing content? What is the response in terms of your mental health? Do you feel as though it's like, man, I got something done, I produced? How does it feel to produce that content?
Yeah, it feels good to have knowing that you've completed something. It's kind of like when you go to the gym where you may not have had the best day, but you're like, hey, I got that workout in. Like I burned X amount of calories. It just makes you feel good when you're like, man, I've completed something. Because so often when we're moved through life, sometimes it's easy to feel purposeless. Like, man, like what am I here for? Like there's a book by Rick Warren called The Purpose Driven Life, and the subtitle of that is like, what on earth am I here for?
Mhm.
And so when I know that my purpose is to share, I know that, like, as sure as my name is Chris Sumlin, as sure as I am that I know that I'm supposed to be doing things like this. And so when I've completed that, uploaded a podcast, done a YouTube video, completed a conversation like this, written a chapter of a book, wrote a blog, and it's done and it's out and people are reading it and being inspired by it, I'm like, man, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. It makes me feel like I'm useful, purposeful, and using my days intentionally. And I really like that feeling.
Definitely. It definitely it reinforces that value that you have. Like, you have something important to say, and when you share it, and oftentimes you get positive responses, and you may not get positive responses as well. But
Yeah, when I did the visiting Trump's White House YouTube video, people didn't like that.
yeah,
Like people were not happy. I remember I was reading Candace Owens' book Blackout, which I enjoyed. I read the whole thing in one sit down, and I was telling people, "Oh, this is some really interesting ideas that Candace Owens has posed." And when I said that, pew, people were mad, and and that's okay. Everyone's allowed to have an opinion. I mean, there's some, my favorite artist is Beyonce. Sometimes I like when she performs this song. So I was like, man, I wish she wouldn't have done Halo again. I wish she would have did Deja Vu or whatever.
yeah.
You're allowed to have an opinion, and everyone's entitled to their own. So yes, you get the good with the bad, but it's important that you understand your intention. I was recently watching an interview with Liz Gilbert, who wrote Eat, Pray, Love. And I mentioned this yesterday in the interview. And a interviewer was asking her, she was doing promo for her book. And the interviewer asked her, like, how do you hope your book is received? And she said, well, I don't know how it will be received, but I know how it's offered. And it's offered with love and insight. And so for me, that's how I have to, that's what I have to sit in. Like, I don't know how my content is going to be received. I don't know if this is going to be the thing that's going to take me to the next level, if people are going to like this, if I'm going to get 1 like or 100 likes, but I know how it's offered. I understand my intention. And when you have, when you know what your intentions are, when you know where your head is, when you know what your goal is, that's all you can rest in knowing. You can't be out here worried about if people like the video, love the interview, like the book, enjoy the photo. You just have to put it out there and hope for the best and know that you were being truthful to yourself. And that's all you can do.
This reminds me of hearing stories like this of perseverance, just constantly just pushing through. It reminds me of my first year in college. I went to a community college out here in Chicago, and I was taking an intro to philosophy course, and I was learning about Socrates and how he was pretty much rejected by the people in his.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until after he had to leave or die that his work would be
Appreciated,
understood,
celebrated,
appreciated. Right.
accepted.
So my thing is, if we know stories like that, or you take stories from the Bible and the people of the world, of that time,
Anybody. Yeah. It's a part of it. It's a part of the
right.
equation. If you think you're going to do anything of success and 100% of the people are going to be clapping for you and cheering you on, you are in for a world of struggling because that is not how it works. We can go down the list from anybody. You can name any person, any type of discipline, anyone who's achieved any type of success has fallen and people talk about it. That's a part of life. Tiger Woods, there was a moment where his sex scandal got out and he went to rehab for sex addiction. Everybody was just trying to throw him under the bus and thought he would never play again. At the inauguration, when Obama got inaugurated for the second time, they thought Beyonce definitely lip sung the national anthem. People were very upset about that. Britney Spears, back in 2005 or 2006, she was Oops, I Did It Again, a diamond platinum album, really, 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 really successful when she first came out, and then completely went berserk and she ended up shaving her head. The media just broke her. Janet Jackson, one of the best-selling female artists of all time. I think That's the Way Love Goes is one of the best-selling female singles of all time. When she did the Super Bowl and had that Justin Timberlake thing, people were mad. So that's kind of it. Martin Luther King, there is not a city you can go in that doesn't have a Martin Luther King Boulevard. But people don't even know that his approval rating was like less than 40% in his final years of life. Very, very unliked, very, very disapproved of.
Yeah.
And so we have to understand that when we're trying to do our thing and trying to be successful, being disliked is a part of that. And you have to just persevere through that no matter what.
Absolutely. I think that definitely ties with legacy and what comes after.
Mm-hmm.
So all the seeds and the foundation you're setting up now is for those that come after us, because that's definitely part of the struggle and part of growth as well. Being rejected, I'm gonna share something like being on sports teams when I was younger. I was definitely pretty talented, but people typically didn't like me for whatever reason. And so they would do like passive things like not pass me the ball or, not include me in like just, different social gatherings. And what that did for me was allow me to be okay and really get to know myself and like embrace the uniqueness
Mm-hmm.
of my being. But if that
Mm-hmm.
didn't happen, I probably would still be trying to, join or wedge into spaces where I just didn't fit. And it just kind of gave me the opportunity and the space to find where are the most quality people that can help me on my journey and vice versa. Where can I find those people? So it gave me kind of like an outlook or like a look outside of the realm. So I kind of feel like a scientist when it comes to life. I feel like an observer rather than a person that is kind of embraced or immersed in all of these activities. So
Absolutely. And my dad used to always tell me, like, you always have haters, but you'll always have your fans. So
yeah,
it's imperative that when you experience setback or someone doesn't really like you, it's all right. You just got to find the ones that are going to like you. You know what I mean? And then to your point about you didn't even know why people didn't like you, because sometimes that will be your experience. You will be as kind as you can be, as smart as you can be, as good looking as you can be, as well dressed, smell good, whatever it is. And people still will just not receive it. They're just like, nah, I don't like him. His energy, his personality, nah. People, and it's not even necessarily is you, it's them. Like Don Miguel Ruiz says in the Four Agreements, don't take everything personally. Sometimes it has nothing to do with you. Sometimes it's not even you, it's your being reflecting things within them that they don't recognize. So then they're upset. And that's another thing too, is like it don't even be anything you could have done. It's just some people are just like, that is not who I like. But then the converse is true. There'll be people who's like, am I even that great? And they will just write a whole chapter about you in their book.
I
Hello, let's get really
don't know about that.
specific here. You know what I'm saying? They're just like, man, I really like him. He's a great guy. I think he's great. And then you have those people too. So it's important that you are just truthful and authentic in your expression in the world. And the ones that are really for you will come, and ones that don't matter, don't matter.
Right. And you wrote a blog post about boundaries, and
Yeah.
boundaries would certainly allow you to have at least some control over what's around you, the people that are around you, the ideas that flow and influence your mind. So what inspired that blog post?
Yes, my most recent blog I wrote was about boundaries because I often feel in my experience and in everyone's experience, because I think all human experiences are universal. We have people that will come into our lives and will just try to take up our time, our energy, our effort, and our money. You talked about it because you did talk about how people will try to just take from you and not give, and how you can lose friends. I saw you made a video about losing friends because it's the truth. When some people feel like they can just take your time, take over your day, take your resources, it's important that you say, you know what? I will not tolerate this in my life. You will not treat me this way. I will not allow you to speak to me like that. No, I'm not a liar. No, I'm not selfish. You will not treat me this way. And being able to own that,
Right.
and from the top down, because even sometimes family members think they can get away with that. And it's like, at the end of the day, you have to exhibit that self love and say, you know what? I will not tolerate this. You don't get to treat me this way. And if you don't like it, you can go. And I've found in my experience that when you exhibit that self love, people are attracted to you even more. They want to hang out with you even more. Like, man, like he really about it. Like he don't play no games. Like she's really a boss. Like people love when you have that self love because energy is transferable. So when you say, I don't allow people to treat me that way in my life, it's like, man, maybe I should start exhibiting that self love and set some boundaries in my life. Because if you don't set boundaries, people will run amok in your life. They'll take your time, effort, and energy, and then you'll look up and you'll be like, dang, I just wasted what, 2 hours of my time dealing with this fool? I just wasted $200 giving this person a gift. I done loaned out how much? I done spent how much? Because we don't have clear boundaries. So my advice to anyone, male and female, is universal, old, young, whatever, blue, black, whatever you are, set boundaries in your life. Understand what you will not tolerate, accommodate, and accept, and then have the integrity to enforce that every single day. It's a very important lesson, very, very powerful.
Man, I would definitely say I've had to grow and accept that as part of my practice, because I don't know where I've learned it, but I thought that I should, kind of hang around and let, because naturally I thought people were respectful, and I had a
Mm-hmm.
rude
Right.
awakening. I had a
Mm-hmm.
rude awakening when I was approaching adulthood, that people will test you, they'll pull your card.
Mm-hmm.
My upbringing was, you give respect, you receive
Mm-hmm.
respect. That's what it was. So um, going out into the world, you understand that people, they kind of, they want you to demand it in a way. So that's natural, but I definitely learned that it's not naturally given, especially if people have certain upbringings. That's not naturally, you have to kind of take it in a way.
You have to teach people how to treat you because you never know what people's values are, how they raise, what type of traumas they experience, how they act out of their own traumas. And so you don't get to control what the other people do. You don't get to control what Tom, Dick, and Harry do. You only get to control Jamel Muhammad. You only get to control Chris Summons. And you get to say, you know what, that may be how you move, but that's not how I move. And I will not tolerate that because people will just, and I think there's so much rhetoric just behind, oh, that's arrogant. Like, ooh, who he think he is? And oh, like give and he'll give it back to you. And I feel like some of that rhetoric is so self-deprecating. It's like if you are just giving and giving and giving and you don't have nothing in your cup to even pour from, you're making that person a thief. Like to your experience, like they're stealing from your goods. Is that how we should be? Like that's not how it's supposed to be. There is importance of giving and generosity. I get that. But we also have to make sure that we're entertaining rhetoric about boundaries and self-love, because I feel like we've lost that in the consciousness of pop culture, because I think it's just all about give, 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 give. And when you give and don't have anything else to give, who does that serve?
Right. On that point of generosity, in your second book, chapter 9, um, number 5
Mm-hmm.
on your characteristics list of a good friend is generosity. So my question is, what does giving look like in terms of content, in terms of advice, anything? What does that look like in this time?
Yes, generosity has to come from an authentic space. I feel like our life is speaking to us all the time, and you know when to give and when not to. So listen to that voice. There will be moments where somebody will ask me for money or something. I'm just like, I don't feel it. You know what I mean? Trusting in your heart that you're connected to the universe that will tell you what you're supposed to do at all times. Yeah, that's it for me. I can't speak for everyone, but I know that I'll get an inkling in my being that will say, you need to talk to that person. That person is hurting. That person needs money. Make sure that person has eaten today. Make sure that that person knows that you care about them. Give that person a text message. And so that's just my experience. So then when I do feel that, I'll hit you up. I'll hit someone up and be like, hey, thinking of you today, how's everything going? And then every single time I do that, they'll be like, man, I was just going through a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I was just, it happened to me literally yesterday. A girl came into my spirit and I'm like, okay, I got to reach out. Hey, how are you doing? I was in the middle of a breakdown. Wow, I can't believe you just reached out to me. So it's about being in tune to our being and our spirit and feeling that, understand that we have a spirit, that we're not just mind and body, but we're also soul. And a good movie, by the way, Soul on Disney Plus. Have you seen
Mm-hmm.
Soul?
Not yet.
really good. I can give you my Disney Plus login. It's really great. It's really great. But we're soulful beings. We are soulful beings. And so you have to make sure that you're giving from a space where you feel it in your soul. And you may not always feel it. And when you don't, honor that. But when you do, honor that and give, even if it's sacrificial, because your soul will never lead you in the wrong direction. What you really feel in your heart, not just really in your mind, but in your soul and in your heart, will never lead you wrong. Never.
Man, I love this generosity tip, especially because I was speaking with my younger brother Isaiah, and he has more facial hair than me. So I was, you know, asking him to be more generous. Let me get a little mustache, a little beard, man. You know what I'm saying?
You don't get facial hair at all?
I would say it's a delayed process. It's coming. It's
And
God
you want
has
that?
things coming. Huh?
You want? I don't get it either, but I'm.
Um, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going on. I prayed about it. Um
Praying that you get a beard.
yeah, yeah.
Do you
Not
feel like you need that? Like, is this not working out for you? Like how you look now is just not, that's not good enough.
I often tell people that I'm a teacher, and they're just like, "What? You look kind of young to be a teacher." I'm just like, "Man, I need the respect."
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay, there we go. Young.
Yeah,
But I look young too. I look 19.
yeah. You definitely don't look your age, so
No, not at all.
that's the
That's
good
okay, because
gene.
when I'm 40, I'm gonna look 20. And when I'm
Uh,
60, I'm gonna look 40. And these other people out here, they're gonna look like hell. So it's great.
that's really my whole. Well, I'm really not complaining for real because I don't want to look old. When I'm
Mhm.
really old, So
But then if
yeah.
when you should be able to open your mouth and people see your expertise. You gotta, when you talk, they should be able to feel like, okay, you done been around. You know something. You ain't no little dumb 19-year-old.
Right, right. So you often prioritize your gym time,
Mm-hmm.
exercise,
Yes.
fitness, and what I want to know is how do you feel when you're being consistent in the gym, and what are some ways that other people can also have that same feeling?
Yes. I go to the gym every day for an hour. I usually do about 45 minutes of cardio and then the remaining like 50 minutes of weight training and that stuff that I hate that you've been trying to get me to do. I'm still working on the calisthenics. I love when you do those planks and all that. I'm like, oh my God. And there was one video I was watching of you and you just kept on spinning around, just kept on just going and go. I'm like, how does his arms not break? You know what I'm talking about? And you just be like, man, you gotta show the people what I'm talking about because that is just crazy. But I like, when you start working out, that skin starts clearing up, you start sleeping deeper, you start getting stronger, you start like slimming up and liking how you look, your confidence increase, people can see it. Because you work out so much, you have no choice but to drink a lot of water because all that sweat leaving your body doing the cardio. So then your water intake goes up, you start getting more toxins out of your body. And for me, everything just flows better when I'm in the gym consistently. I remember Will Smith once said, like, if you ever want to see your life change, the first thing you should do is start exercising, prioritizing your body. And I like it. I like seeing veins popping out of my arms, and I like
Mhm.
moving my chest and feeling like if somebody were to run after me, I could run and catch up after them, and having that confidence and knowing that I'm strong. Um, I like that because, again, like we said, when I was a child, I always thought it was impossible for me, and I never thought I could do it. Like I always said, I can't do no push-ups, I can't work out, my power isn't in my body. And I have to practice what I preach by going after that goal and dispelling those excuses and trying it. Like, Chris, you see all these other people doing the squats and the free weights. Why can't you? Then I have to practice what I preach and say, okay, I have this goal, no excuses. Let me go over here and get with it. Let me go over here and do some chest press and get in here too. So I'm learning just like everybody else. But their benefits of going to the gym are enormous. You go to the gym, read, drink water, credit scores start going up, people start liking you more, you'll start getting attractive. It's great.
Man, so do you feel as though the fitness part helps your productivity? Because my experience is whenever I'm just in a bad mental space, I use the gym to kind of lift my spirit because it's for me, it's a spiritual experience. So
Mm-hmm.
that allows me to have the mental and physical strength. I just have extra energy to get more work done, whether that's, side work, content, work, teaching, anything, but it just improves my productivity. So what's your experience with that?
I've actually noticed that the gym has decreased my productivity because I am usually very tired.
Oh,
I'm still transitioning into it. So for me, I feel better mentally, but I'm like, whoa, I just burned 1,200 calories today. By like noon, literally by like noon, I've already probably burned 1,200 active calories because I do stairs for 30 minutes. That
mhm.
takes me down. Like it's great, but it's challenging. So I'm still new to this thing, but I'm hoping that I'll be able to work out and still have the energy or maybe not go as hard. But yeah, if I'm going to the gym, I'm not leaving unless I'm burning at least 900 to 1,000 calories because I'm doing the intense cardio. Well, I know I've seen some other people I follow on Instagram and stuff, and they do like a 30-minute workout and they burn like maybe 250 like active calories. I'm like, okay. But different strokes for different folks, but I'm still learning.
Right. So have you ever tried like um, fasting for any period of time in your life?
No. I'm aware of intermittent fasting and understand the benefits, and they say that's the way you can like get your body crazy. And then I remember how you and your brother were like eating every other day.
Yeah.
And I think I could do it if I was like in school or working, but in the home, like in this quarantine-ish, gotta be at home, it's really hard. Like I just want to go downstairs. I'm like, oh, let me grab some pretzels and some hummus or some fruit. Um, and then I also saw like TikTok where someone said intermittent fasting is just a fancy way to say you're starving yourself. What are your thoughts on that?
I would say people they use the word starving, and it's really what that triggers in a person's mind is fear. So they
Mhm.
kind of go away from it. You have to understand fuel sources in the body. So this is one reason I really love why I study biology from my undergraduate tenure. So you have many fuel sources. You have carbohydrates, you have fats, and you have proteins. The first energy source that is burned off is your stored sugar. We call it glycogen. So that's what you burn off first before you get kicked into fat primarily. But the fat stores in the human body is abundant. So when we burn off the sugar, they typically say, oh, you're in a starvation state, but you still have another fuel source that's more efficient.
Would
Fat is
that
more
be
efficient.
keto? Is that like the keto idea?
Yeah, which keto is kind of dangerous too, because if that's done
Very
for,
trendy. Everyone's talking about it.
yeah, I think it's best for short term because you can, there's a state called ketoacidosis where it makes
Mhm.
your blood toxic and
Which is what
people,
keto is short for. Keto is not the word. It's ketoacidosis. Is that correct?
well, it's ketone. So ketone bodies is a byproduct from fat. You burn
Mhm.
off fat, that's a byproduct, and it's used to, fuel your brain and stimulate autophagy, all types of things. Um, but people do what's trendy. But you should definitely do your research. Have an experience for sure, and definitely do research at the same time, for sure.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
it's definitely not starving because you have many fuel sources. The sugar and the fat are your body. Your body loves both of those. So um, I would say use a different word. You're switching the fuel source rather than starving.
Got you.
Yeah.
Oh, and since I have you on camera, you have not come to see my new home. You have not come to Columbus, Ohio. You have not made any effort to come see me, even though you live in Chicago, which in essence is really about a 6 hour
Wow.
drive. And I just really want to get you on camera to explain that to the people that you have not come to see my home. I don't understand.
Okay. Okay.
There you go. That's just something
No,
that we want to put out there. You just
I'm
something you
just
ponder on
I'm just
that.
dealing with this thing, man. This.
Hey, me too. Me too. Definitely have to come to Ohio. And I remember you made a video and we're like, what's in Ohio? Nothing. And I was just like, man.
Oh, we need to make a video about Chris. He's also a part-time chef, not a cook. He's a chef. Um, and he makes gourmet meals almost daily.
I can't lie, I do. But question, do you eat fish?
I eat salmon from time to time.
From time to time. Okay. That's all I'm eating now. Like before I used to really, really be cooking, but I'm doing no dairy, low carb, no meat. So most of my are is just cauliflower, broccoli, and salmon.
Right.
And I have an air fryer now too.
Heard is not the same. What's your take?
I just feel it's convenient. It's like a microwave to me. So I'm just gonna throw this in, it's gonna work. I don't know.
But does it get it crispy?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Oh.
Yeah, like the air fryer. Yeah. See, if you came over, we could go through that and talk about it, make a video about it. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you live in Chicago, I live in Columbus. That is not absurd to be like, oh, Jamel, why don't you road trip on up here one Saturday?
I am the type to road trip too.
I know. Get your coffee and be like, bro, it's 2 a.m. I'm about to come up to Columbus. I'll be there like at 8. Bet. I really enjoyed this conversation. I'm gonna hold you to that. Ladies and gentlemen, when Jamel comes to Columbus, I'll do a video. I'll put this on my channel about this man actually coming over to see me. This was great. Thank you so much for this invitation.
Man, thank you for accepting this invite on this podcast. You know what I'm saying? Most definitely. Thank you for blessing the content with beautiful words, scriptures, quotes, etc.
Of God.
In a bunch.
Rambling, ranting, that too.
Look, it's all good though. All of it. It's all worthy. Thank you all so much for tuning in once again. Please go ahead and subscribe. Help me reach my goal of 10,000 subscribers. Leave your thoughts down in the comment section and definitely give this video a thumbs up. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Once again, we out of here. Peace.